Well, hello there, and welcome to today's episode of the Power of Your Mind podcast. You are listening to episode 252, Manifest More with Awareness. I'm Jim Kellner, comedy hypnotist. I am joining Victoria Gallagher, who is, of course, the #1 best-selling author of The Practical Law of Attraction. She also wrote the Ultimate Weight Loss Power book, also How to Manifest Your Soulmate, and she's the founder of HipTalk.com and HypnoCloud apps, the premier online destination for hypnosis recordings. She's got over 500 recordings in that app to choose from, and HypnoCloud provides solutions for people from all walks of life. There's guided meditations, affirmations, and of course, hypnotherapy to help you with the law of attraction, manifestation, business success, stress, anxiety, sleep issues, and so much more. So be sure to download it today from the app stores. The goal of this show is to inspire you to dream big and to live your best life, as every week we discuss how to use manifesting, affirmations, meditation, and hypnosis to help people create the life of their dreams. So if you're ready to start manifesting your best life, join us and let us help you to tap into the power of your mind. Welcome, Victoria.
Hello, Jim. How are you?
I almost couldn't be better. Almost couldn't be better.
Almost. Well, I am joined by Sebastian here. He may make an appearance.
Wonderful.
Yeah, he just hopped up to join me on my desk here. These cats, they just love hanging out with their mother, and they've got it made. They really they have nothing to complain about. Let's see. Here's a tail.
Nice.
Yeah.
People
He
always
just
say
hopped
there's
down.
there's there's those there's those people that don't like cats, and they'll say like, well, cats are just standoffish, they're not friendly. And I gotta say, maybe it's you. Maybe you're the problem, because
Right?
I've found most cats are very, I mean, there's a few that have a different personality, but for the most part, they're sweet. They're
Yeah.
wonderful.
You've
My
got
cats are
3 and I've
crazy.
got 3, right?
Yeah,
You've
yeah, we're
got
crazy
breakfast,
cat
lunch, and
people.
breakfast, lunch, and
Right,
dinner.
exactly.
It's very
Easy to
easy to
remember.
remember their names. I love it.
I know you've got Sebastian and Velvet, but I don't remember the third one.
Emerald.
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 Right. You
Yeah.
talk about Velvet quite a lot.
Well, he's kind of he's he's kind of my like cat boyfriend.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time together. Although he's aloof today. I have no idea where he is in this house today. But yeah,
Ours, our black cat Dinner is crazy about Maya. I mean, they all love her, but Dinner will just follow her around. She scratches on the door to come in. I mean, she's just
oh
crazy about her. It's cute.
yeah. Velvet has been he's probably done the most personal development over over the time that we've had. He's our youngest. He's 8. Emerald's 10. Sebastian's 11. So it's 8, 10, 8, 9, and 10. No, Sebastian's 9. So they're 8, 9, and 10. And Velvet, got him when he was a little kitten, foster
Mhm.
failure. And we were fostering and tried to bring him back. But anyway, long story short, he was just fine, but we never socialized him
Mm.
very well. And so we left town, had some cat sitters come and feed, and freaked him out. And he
Oh,
was never the same from that moment on. And he just would hide. And he's now like whenever we'd have guests, he just would completely hide for uh the whole time that they were there.
wow.
Now he's out like the next day, and
Mm.
out and like literally he'll even let them pet him and things like that. So the fact that like he and I have this crazy strong connection, this crazy strong bond, that is also something that's developed over
Mm.
time. I mean, would never like just sit on my lap or anything. Now, I mean, literally like clockwork. When I go into my meditation room, I put my blanket over my lap. He needs the blanket over my lap. He's not going to sit directly on my legs. But
Gotcha.
when I
Okay.
put the blanket on, he's like a magnet to me and this room and the whole meditation thing. And this morning, like I had my eyes open for a little while, kind of waiting for him to come up. And he's like, "Nope, you gotta close your eyes. Close your eyes and then I'll come up."
That's
So
funny.
yeah. Anyway, if you want to get me talking about Velvet for an hour, just say Velvet, and I won't shut up.
We'll do a whole episode on velvet someday.
Yeah.
Of course, today's subject, though, is manifesting more with awareness. I think we all know what awareness means, but what is it? How does it relate to manifestation?
Yeah. So, I mean, it really makes sense that awareness would be such an integral part to manifestation because many reasons why people are not manifesting what they want is due to things like, certain ways of thinking. They might be in a bad vibe and not even be able to tune in to that vibe and realize that, oh, I might be sending out you know a bad vibe. So it's all about being conscious and attentive to how am I thinking, how am I feeling, what's going on around me, what kind of environment am I surrounding myself in. And it's really understanding those thoughts and being able to adjust and align your thinking when you're in touch with what you're thinking. I mean, it's kind of like, you don't realize that, you got food in your teeth, right? Until
Mhm.
somebody points it out. And then it's like, I'm walking around with food in my teeth this whole time and no one even told me. It's the same thing. Sometimes we're saying things on a repetitive basis and we don't even realize that the things that we're saying are the very things that are creating the results that we don't want in our life. So it's all about like, oh, it's that light bulb moment. You become aware. I've been thinking this thing that, I've been thinking, what is it? There's some things that, people, they're always thinking about what they don't want. They're always
Yeah.
thinking about like and every time, it doesn't even matter. The universe doesn't care. Your subconscious mind doesn't care why you're thinking about this thing or obsessing about what you don't want. But every single time you're thinking, you're putting another, unit of thought out there into the world, into the universe that's manifesting that thing. It's not like necessarily instant, but
Yeah.
it's creating your general overall experience. It's creating your general overall, what are the actions that you're taking? It's creating your general overall vibration. And so if you can even just get in touch with one thought that's been doing that, or one way of feeling, or way of behaving. Maybe it's your tone of voice, like, that somebody could or you could figure out, like, that's not working for me. That's creating something that I don't want. And, it's these words, these phrases, these actions, things that we do, getting control over those things, getting control over your vibration, getting control over your thoughts, that's going to ultimately give you the power to change it and manifest more effectively and manifest more according to what you really want.
As I think about that conscious, being conscious of your thoughts, I used to be a huge worrier. I mean, worrying runs in my family. And
Hmm.
now that I'm more aware of these kind of things, I'm like, I was just manifesting more things to worry about, really, wasn't I? I was just like, I'm just sending this vibe out of, oh, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And it's like the opposite thing that I should have been doing. Right.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's like I'm very hesitant about sharing the details of anything wrong that might be happening in my life with too many people because
Mhm.
I don't want them to worry. Because worrying is like praying for something bad to happen. It's
Right.
praying for the things that you don't want to happen. You're worrying about it. And
Yeah.
worrying never helps. It never
Never does.
actually, and most of the things that we're worrying about never actually come true. They never actually
Exactly.
happen. But worrying
Yep.
about it can make it happen. And
Right.
worrying about it, it's like you're robbing yourself of the experience. And so that's another thing, just like you said, I mean, to be aware of the fact that, like, oh, I'm worrying right now. I need
Yeah.
to let that go and focus on what I do want.
Yeah. So how does being aware, practicing more, I guess, awareness in our life, how does that raise our vibration and then of course improve our manifesting abilities?
Well, for one, it's going to put you in touch with what am I thinking? Like, what are the negative thoughts that are running, and even the positive ones?
Mm,
So, like, if you have positive thoughts that are working for you, then awareness is also going to work to help you to catch the fact that, oh, you know what? When I'm thinking this, it's generating this feeling. And I like the way that I'm feeling right now. So it's not always just the self awareness is not just focusing on the weaknesses, but it's also focusing on the strengths. What is it that's working for me? And what is it that's working against me? And so it's going to help you to like get in touch with any kind of negative thoughts and beliefs that are lowering your vibration, and then help you to shift and actively choose the thoughts, the emotions. What do I need to be feeling to raise my vibration and align with my desire? And of course, being in that higher vibration always attracts higher vibration, positive experiences, and helps you to manifest more of the good stuff that you want.
absolutely. And so I'm going to guess there's an opposite of that. So, well, how does a lack of awareness affect your manifestation?
Yeah. So, I mean, having a lack of awareness it's basically the same thing. I mean, and I would say, um, life ultimately you're evolving from the time that you're born till the time that you die. You're constantly in a state of evolution. And as you're evolving and hopefully changing for the better. Some people don't change for the better. Some people change for the worst. uh, but as when you first start out, you are starting out your life kind of with in a state of a lack of awareness. So awareness isn't necessarily something that we're totally born with knowing how to do. It
Mhm,
is something that is the beginning of personal development, and you
mm,
begin to become aware of yourself over time. And so everything that we're creating in this very moment, we're creating it from our present level of awareness. And we can only create to the degree with which we have become aware. And, so there are certain things that we're not aware of how to create. There's certain ways, states of being that we're not aware of how to be. There's certain thoughts that have yet to be thought in your mind because they all come from you advancing to a new level of awareness. And so when you choose to have a lack of awareness, and, when I say you choose to have a lack of awareness, that means I don't want to learn anything new. I know everything already. I'm not going to take chances. I'm not going to take any risks. I'm going to stay in my comfort zone. I'm not going to go outside. I'm not going to meet new people. I'm not going to change jobs. All of that is keeping you in a present level of awareness. And so your life is not going to change because you're choosing to stay at this level of awareness. So, I mean, having a new level of awareness and advancing your new level of awareness is literally the only way that you can ever manifest anything new.
And I'm reminded of something, there's this saying, oftentimes we don't know what we don't know. And I feel so fortunate too. And I don't even remember how I came across it, but to have discovered Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, in my early 20s. And there were so many things in there that I was like, oh, I'm doing that. Oh, I'm doing that. I'm not doing that. And, for one example was I was very argumentative and I didn't see a problem with it. And I was even it was funny because at the time I was actually reading a book on how to be a better arguer. Really, because I'd gotten an argument with somebody and at some point I called him a bad word and he said, no, you just don't know how to argue. And I was like, oh, I'll get better at it. But I'm reading Dale Carnegie's book and he's like, you're never going to win a friend by arguing with him. And I was like, oh, well, what am I? And so that was just one example. I had no idea. Completely changed I mean, it still took me a lot of years to actually change some of the behaviors, but at least I became aware of them.
Yeah. And I love that light bulb moment you had where you just kind of like, and, maybe you got it by going in one direction and then, deciding like, okay, I'm going to read this other book. And this other book helped to really, turn the lights on. And, but, oh, I just lost my, train of thought, what I was thinking, but but you were open and receptive to having a change take place, having a changed mind. I mean, it wasn't that like you stumbled upon that book. I believe you stumbled upon that book because you were open to change.
Yeah.
And, and change, and they're so interrelated. Awareness leads to change. And and it good awareness leads to positive change. Because when you become aware, only when you become aware of something, can you intentionally change your mind, change your behavior, change your actions, change whatever it is whatever it is that you're thinking about, feeling, taking action on, that's creating your results. So the only way you're going to be able to change your results is to change. And, yet change is like the scariest thing that
Mm-hmm.
we're all
Yeah.
confronted with. And you're not bad because change is scary. You're born that way. That is how that is how we, as human beings, survived, is by being afraid of change. Because it
Yeah.
all, all change, represents, something, is interrupting our state of homeostasis. And homeostasis, is how we survive. Everything staying the same. So anything that's going to come along to like change, it's always uncomfortable. There's never going to be a time we're going to say, "Oh, I just feel like making this dramatic change in my
Right.
life."
Yeah.
You don't feel like it. You do it.
Right. Yeah.
You do it
Yeah.
because it's necessary to your ultimate survival, your ultimate evolution. Like if people don't change right now in business, if I hadn't changed making cassettes, uh,
Right.
you have to change in order to survive in anything. If you stay the exact same in a relationship, and people are never going to be the same people that, the person you married 20 years ago, not the same person that you're married to today, and where is that old well, they're gone. They're gone because you you're in you're in hopefully you're evolving together and you're keeping your vision on track together. And that way, but people change, people grow together or they grow apart. And, and it's just also important to realize through this whole change process in life that it's okay. Like, it is okay because, like, you change or life is going to come and change something for you. And so you better be proactive. I know we're not change and awareness to me, they're like so like that's easy to kind of uh interchange between these two
Yeah,
topics,
sure.
because awareness leads to change. It leads to
Yeah.
the planned, prepared, change, the intentional change.
Yeah, and I mean, I can definitely see how just making that one change for myself, and it still took me. I mean, I still sometimes fall into the trap, and I still sometimes argue, but I can see where that has helped me in my manifestation. Can you give some other examples of how being aware can impact the manifestation process?
Yeah. Well, so it's ultimately when you become aware, you gain insight,
Hmm.
you gain clarity, you get hyper focused on the truth, essentially. Awareness to me ultimately leads you to the truth. And your truth being, um, you know, this is who I am. And from this place of who I really am, this is what I choose to create for myself. And, so many times we think we know what we want, but we really don't know what we want because we don't even really know who we are. I mean, who you are is not the same person that you were, when you graduated high school.
Thank God. Although I have some friends that seem to be the same. I don't know. Some old.
Yet we have a version of ourselves in our mind that is completely different from who we actually are. We
Yeah,
do not really know who we are because who
yeah,
we are is always evolving and changing. Yet the image that we keep in our subconscious mind about who we think we are, that rarely changes.
yeah,
And so you're capable of so much more than you actually can comprehend or realize that you're capable of, because you're only accessing a version of yourself who used to be able to do a certain level of things. So when you become aware, truly aware, you look at your successes, you look at your failures, you look at how you've grown, you look at your weaknesses, you look at your strengths, you look at your likes, you look at your dislikes, you look at all of these things, and you realize, oh, I'm, not who I thought I was. And now, from the place of knowing who you actually are, you know, you can uh, you can create much more fulfilling and aligned manifestations.
it's awesome. It's awesome. What are some practical techniques that people can do for increasing their awareness?
Well, I'm always going to hammer on the whole idea of daily meditation. And whether daily meditation is for, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, I mean, you're going to get far more value out of meditating more frequently and for longer periods of time. And it just becomes a place. You become friends with this place in your mind. It becomes a companion to you, a helpful resource. Same way that you would call your mom or a friend or talk to your cat.
Yeah,
You can call upon your own power of your mind and get to know yourself and open up and expand and literally ask the question during meditation, who am I? and what am I here for? What is my purpose? Another way that I find is really useful is keeping a journal
Hmm.
and, reflecting on your thoughts that you have during meditation, but then expanding that and taking that into your journal. So you meditate for a little while, and then whatever came through in your meditation, you write that down. But then through the process of writing, I always find that when I'm writing, that takes on a whole life of its own. And that allows you to tap into even more resources because it's like this activity, energy generating thing that you're doing that somehow like you're still meditating while you're journaling. You're just doing it like with your eyes open and holding a pen, but you're still kind of like meditating. And if, especially like if you have a little tranquil music in the background and you're just sort of still letting go of all the outside thoughts and just focusing on writing and not focusing so much on perfecting what you're writing, but just, just generating. And then, even just practicing gratitude is still just another way to increase your awareness. Being grateful for the awareness that you do have, being grateful for the your qualities, your attributes. Um, you know, being grateful for the information that's coming to the surface while you're getting in touch with who you are and what you want and what your life purpose is.
Yeah, a lot of good ways for people to start increasing their awareness. So how can you're going to be, this is a lot of this is self-reflection, right? And it's going to lead to self-reflection and introspection. And how is that going to improve your awareness and manifestation abilities? There's got to be a direct link, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all about being introspective, helping you to really identify what your beliefs are, what your thoughts are, what your emotions are, really knowing yourself at the deepest level that you can possibly know yourself, knowing your faults, knowing your past mistakes, knowing what you want for yourself in the future, understanding anything that's been a struggle for you that you've been trying to break through, that you've just been wanting to get to that next level in your life. Being introspective, journaling about it, meditating about it, it's going to allow you to maybe tap into some deeper understanding that will help uncover what are some of the patterns, like um, to be able to see yourself from a different perspective, to be able to see yourself objectively. And I think that's huge. Another huge key to awareness is to kind of like let go of the attachment to how you think you are and who you think you are, and be willing to explore yourself like as if you were looking at yourself from the outside, because
Hmm.
I tell you what, the people that you spend the most time with know you better than you know yourself.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
They it's like it's interesting how they can predict your behavior, they can predict what your hot buttons are.
Right.
What if you could get to that level of
Yeah.
understanding with yourself? You can break through some of those things. You can break through some of those hot buttons and those triggers and those negative um, beliefs that are unknown to you. You don't
Yeah.
even know that you have these beliefs, yet they're running your life.
And we tend to think that those are just who we are when that's really just the way we've been, and we can change that. Believe me, I've changed so much over the years. Um, You don't have to be stuck where you're at. Um, I think one of the things that is over time, though, it seems like we have to keep readjusting, right? So that we can maintain and improve our level of awareness, because it's like we're uncovering new levels, new stuff all the time.
We are. We are. And yeah, like we're in a constant state of growth. And that's why, growth or decay. We're either,
Right.
moving
Yeah.
forward or we're moving backward. And so, if we are not aware, usually, we not usually, but we could be moving backward and you don't even realize it. And, we spend so much time thinking about what happened or what's going to happen, but so little time on right here, right now, being present, being intentional, being mindful of our thoughts. Like yesterday is the first time I hit the gym again, after a week and a half of being out because I hurt my back. And, normally I'm just kind of like, part of the reason why I hurt my back is because I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't listening to that voice that sort of was saying, like, you really should go because you're not, uh, you know, I could have saved myself a week and a half of being out, of being able to work out. And, that, um, knowing yourself and knowing, is that voice like, am I just trying to cop out, or is that like my intuition actually guiding me and telling me something? And in hindsight, I know that that was my intuition telling me, like, you got to go. This isn't for you right now. And so yesterday, was all about like, okay, today, now I've learned from that, right? And that self-awareness, it gives you an opportunity to learn, to say, okay, I made a mistake, or I didn't make the right decision in that moment. And now I can learn from that. What did I learn? I learned that now when I go to the gym, I have to be mindful. I've got to like really not worry about my ego, not worry about how many reps I'm doing. There's people all around, and not trying to impress anyone, and just be mindful, be focused, feel what's going on in my body. And it's the same thing with your thoughts, about anything. And, really paying attention to the moment. How am I feeling? How am I thinking? What am I doing? How, what position is my body in? Like if you're trying to correct your posture, I mean, like realizing like, that you're slouching. I mean, that, it's really the key to all changes, whether it's physiological, psychological, emotional, behavioral. You are continually, um, making these little micro adjustments. And I don't mean to like, just be so hyper focused on like every little move you make. You'll never probably get to that level of awareness, but it's like, remember, realizing it's like, okay, using your feelings as a gauge of, am I worried about something? Well, if I'm worried, then I must be thinking about the future. Are you sad about something? Well, if you're sad, then you must be thinking about the past. But if you're at peace and you're feeling calm and you're feeling joy and you're feeling happiness, which is the way we are supposed to feel, and we're not going to feel like that at all times. Part of humanness is feeling the whole ray and the whole spectrum of emotions, the duality, the good and the bad. But most of the time, we do want to feel the peace, feel the joy, feel the happiness. And that comes from staying here and being in the present and realizing that, this is a continuing journey of growing, and personal development.
Fantastic. Wow, we've got a lot of homework to do, folks, don't we? Um, Thank you, Victoria. That's been very enlightening. I always learn something every time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying that. Well, I hope everyone's learning and growing and getting a lot out of this podcast. Send me an email, let me know, let us know. I love your comments. So comment on all of our social media. Definitely be sure to share this podcast with your friends. I know some people are starting to share. Love to see more of that.
Yeah.
If you're on Facebook, follow Jim or I on our all of our social media. If you're on YouTube, follow. If you're on Instagram, follow and share. Get this information out into the public. People need it. And also be sure to leave us a review on wherever you listen to podcasts. And be sure to tune in next week for another inspiring episode. And until then, keep using the power of your mind to reach your goals and live your best life of abundance and joy. Bye now.
Bye, everybody.